Welcome to Cosmic Diaries. It's been a while since I recorded a video, but I've been busy uh, writing the annuals for 2015, so it's just taken up most of my time. It's hard to switch spaces, but a lot has been changing in the sky since the last time I recorded something, and Jupiter has now entered Leo, which is big, and I will be recording a video on that pretty soon. I plan to do that after the Leo new moon, or yeah, which is on the 26th of July, a week from now. And Venus is in Cancer now. Today is the 19th of July. It's Saturday evening as I record this, and Saturn stations direct tomorrow, and then Uranus stations retrograde on the 23rd, on the same day as the Sun changes signs from Cancer into Leo. So we've had a lot of shifts in the energy. There's Jupiter changed signs, Venus has changed signs, Saturn and Uranus are changing directions, and then we're heading to a new moon on the 26th. And this is just in the coming week. In the week after that, before the month ends, Venus will also make an opposition to Pluto. So Venus is moving through what used to be the Grand Cross, because now Jupiter has moved on and Mars is moving forward as well. And also on the 21st, Mars will clear its shadow, and that's going to be pretty powerful. So pay close attention to what unfolds over the coming week. We are moving towards a new moon, which is always a time for release. Jupiter is in Leo. Again, I'll have a whole video on Jupiter in Leo with the new moon in Leo. But Jupiter is in Leo now, and you probably have noticed this in your life already. This is big energy. There's big drama. There's a big spotlight being shown in the sky on everything, on all that is, everything under the sun. So things are going to get rather dramatic. But at the same time, this is a calling for us to respond from the heart, not the ego. And as you move towards a new moon, there's going to have to be a conscious release of fears to find inner courage and confidence. And Leo energy at the end of the day is just about being. It's the sun. Leo is ruled by the sun. So the sun is always shining. The sun shines even if there are clouds in the sky. The sun is still shining. We may not just see it, but the sun is still shining. Nor does the sun stop shining because we can't see it. So that's the energy of Leo, where it's light of consciousness that shines through us. But the ego is what overshadows this light, or puts up a barrier between us being able to shine that light and then receive warmth from others and receive love from others. So as you move towards this new moon, there is a lot changing, there is a lot shifting. Saturn stationing direct is a time we've been through a period of inner reevaluation of boundaries, of finding one's inner integrity. And now as Saturn moves direct, especially with Leo, because Leo can put on a front. But now Saturn is moving direct, saying, what's your integrity? Who are you really at your core? Not the face that you put on, and you don't have to put on a face. All you need to be is, which means being able to lower your defenses and bring down your guard, and that allowing yourself to be vulnerable. Because that's that need for validation from someone else. And to be really able to be yourself is to be able to just express yourself fully without worrying about what is going to come back. And for that, of course, it requires self-awareness. It's direct, asking us to claim that power and sense of authority and recognize with power comes responsibility. So, how are you able to be conscious of your own energy and be who you are? Give yourself permission to be yourself without feeling the need to have your guard or walls up. And Saturn is stationing direct, so it's once you own your power, you yourself will know where your boundaries are, where you don't need to have a wall up. You can decide who you let in and how much. And we are moving to the new moon, so this is a conscious release of your ego, lording your will and enforcing your rules upon others. You can live your life by your rules, but it's not necessary that everybody else has to live life by your rules. It's an understanding that and giving each other the respect to be who we are, that we can all be our best selves and create a better world for everyone to live in. And there are situations in your life that are asking for change and that you can't ignore anymore. And really, more than situations, it's all about you. It's understanding that you are the center of your universe. And this change is not coming necessarily on the outside, because, sure, yes, there is change happening on the outside as well, but really, it's happening within you. And when you're able to let go of the past and just simply be yourself, you'll find the courage you need to do what you need to do, to bring about the change that you need in your life, to be the force of change in your life. But these are the things that are really coming up in whatever situation you find yourself in. Those are the challenges that you face internally. And then with the Uranus, when Uranus stations retrograde, and the dates for all of these transits, I have written out in the monthly report, which is sent out to subscribers. So I've mentioned this in my other video. It's really hard for me when I'm doing these videos to give you dates, because I'm just kind of talking to you as it comes to me. But I do write down these dates, and it's easier for me to do that when I'm writing, so I have time to edit. But if you aren't a subscriber, you can sign up for a 1 week free trial, and I'll send out the report to you. And I list dates and important aspects as they're happening, so you have a timeline and the weather for the month. But anyway, coming back to what I was saying, which is as Uranus stations retrograde, I think that's on the 23rd, just after the sun enters Leo. So that's going to be a lot of fiery energy, but it's turning retrograde, so this is an inner awakening. So as allowing you to move forward again with a deeper self-awareness. Leo is also the sign of the self, and again, this is about self-awareness. And something will call for a leap of faith, but the sun is also in a conjunction to Jupiter just the day before the new moon. And this is generally one of the most auspicious days of the year. There's this sense of well-being and being protected. And this is a conjunction that happens once a year. Jupiter changes signs once a year. So it's an annual conjunction, it's an annual event. But yes, there is generally a sign of well-being, and especially right now with a new moon, with this aspect happening just before a new moon. This is big, and this is really kicking off this whole Jupiter and Leo cycle that we're in for the coming year. And relationships are changing deeply at this point. As I mentioned before, Mars clears shadow on the 21st of July, which is just a few days from now. And Mars is now returning to the point that it was on the 26th of December when it stationed retrograde. And situations that came to a head at that point, I mean, you've learned a lot of lessons over the past months. We've all have. And now as Mars clears this shadow and moves forward, it's really asking us how are we creating something new and not recreating old patterns. And this is happening just before a new moon. So it's about releasing old patterns, being conscious of the patterns you're creating. And then Mars changes signs and moves into Scorpio on the day of the new moon. I think just hours after the new moon, if I'm not mistaken. But again, I'll have that. That's in the report. This is a whole new game. It's a whole new world. You can't expect, but it's the whole new world is not outside. It primarily has to be inside because no matter how much the world changes outside, if you're caught up in your perceptions of how something is or should be, how not to judge something and just see something for what it is. And then you can make a choice, then you can choose consciously because that Mars in Libra is at the end of Libra saying you have a choice where you want to enter deeper or not. And this choice has to come from your experience of someone or something, not from your beliefs about someone or something, or ideas about the way something or someone should be. And again, this is not about somebody else or anything outside of you. This is about you being able to trust your own heart because at the end of the day, it's Leo. So, Leo is the heart. And the more you're able to do that, you're going to find this is a very expansive time because it's Jupiter. Also, I will get more into this with the Jupiter and Leo video, but someone said to me the other day, the news in the world has been pretty horrific over the past few days. The wars. I mean, I can't even watch the news because of that, but it's hard, it's impossible to escape it these days, the world we live in. And someone said to me the other day, Jupiter was supposed to be benefic, but it's entered Leo, and all we're seeing is more, death and destruction and war, and Mars hasn't even entered Scorpio. And what I had to say was, the same thing that I said a little while ago, which is Jupiter's just, this is the sun. The sun is like a spotlight, and Jupiter is expansive. So it's magnifying our vision. It's like a massive spotlight. We're able to see everything more clearly. It's harder to ignore things anymore. And in seeing these things, we're being challenged to awaken to our own humanity and what you've been given life for. And one's purpose doesn't have to be something major where you end up on the evening news. Even your interactions with the people you share, what is light? Light is just your consciousness, the fact that you're alive. You've been given life. That's a gift. And you don't know how a simple act of kindness can change someone's life or day or whatever. And it's not about you getting validation for what you give. Again, the sun simply shines, so it's you just being yourself, not so you can get recognition for what you're doing, but just so that you are living your best life and creating the best world that you can to live in. And when you're living with that consciousness and awareness, you're automatically giving light and life to the world. That's the light of your consciousness. That's Leo, where it's selfless being, not ego-centered being, where you need validation from other people for your existence. Also, the time before the new moon is a time for going inward, and this is in the sign of Leo, which is the sign of the sun. So it is about finding inner light, inner confidence, inner courage, but the darkest hour is before the dawn, and the dawn is when the sun rises, and this is in the sign of Leo. And yes, we're seeing a lot of darkness in the world, but this is where each and every one of us has to go in to find our own humanity, to find that own inner light that exists within us, and to get back in touch with that so we can start to create a better world. So it's going to call for courage, but you are protected. And it's going to call for wisdom. Wisdom which comes from your experiences. So means learning to admit where you may have been wrong and admitting your own mistakes and not holding on to your pride or ego. Because ultimately this is about your growth and your evolution. So again, watch that ego. Let go of that ego and your world can open up. and the clouds can part and the sun can shine. That's the energy here. I'll take that back. This is not about right or wrong. But when I say be willing to admit your mistakes, none of us are perfect. And there are ways where we may have hurt someone else, or we may have acted in a way that does not align with our deepest truth. And humility is the only way forward, because pride, right now with Jupiter and Leo, it's very easy for your ego to get in the way, and that's why this energy requires that much consciousness. But where we can be conscious, it's going to be just as much easier for us to create that change. In your relationships also, this is really what I wanted to record this video about, but maybe I'm going to do another video about that just after this one, was Venus in Cancer. But Venus is in Cancer now, and over the next, between now and the end of the month, she's moving through what used to be the Grand Cross and is now dissipating. And on the 28th, Venus opposes Pluto. So when it comes to your relationships, this is very emotional energy. There's a lot of sentimental energy, there's a lot of nostalgia. But it's also asking us to consciously break free of patterns of codependency so we don't end up recreating patterns again. And also, it is a new moon in Leo, so this is a new cycle. It doesn't have to be the past. The present is not the past, and certainly not right now. We're in a very new moment as the planets move forward. So with Venus moving through Cancer and making that opposition to Pluto, when it comes to love and your financial relationships and creative projects or energy, it's a matter of consciously coming out of your own shell, going to the depth of your emotions, being conscious of your insecurities so you're not acting on them, and being conscious of what you're letting go. And you're free to share how your love with everyone. It's when we hold on to expectations of and attachments of how something will be received or what will be reciprocated that we run into trouble. Yeah, this week is a game changer, and there's going to be life-changing moments. And it's all just about being in the moment, above all. So remember that, and go inward, and trust your own wisdom. It'll guide you forward. So that's it for now. I'll be back with a Venus in Cancer video. Do check in with the blog at www.cosmicdiaries.com, and I will post links to the Jupiter and Leo horoscopes, which you can read the sample horoscopes, or you can sign up for a free trial to get the horoscopes in your mail along with the July report. Thanks as always for listening, and this is Priya signing off. Ta-da!